Okay, everybody, I'm just admitting people in. I am uh, going to get started here. Thank you so much. It's great to see you all. I'm excited to have all of you here with me today. My name is Liliana Arguello. I am the Director of Membership with PIHRA. Everyone calls me Lily, so feel free to call me Lily. Let's see, some housekeeping things before I get started sharing an agenda with you all. I am recording this right now. You probably noticed that. And what we usually do is save these recordings on the PIHRA YouTube channel. So we have many of them on the channel, and I will share this with you and others probably early next week. Hello, Amy. Thank you for joining. I'm so glad that you're introducing yourself. So yes, this is all about you. This is the PIHRA member orientation, and I want to make sure that you get the most out of this and start getting to know each other. So before I get started, I am going to share some slides with you. I will email them out before the end of today. So if you want to take notes on things, feel free to take notes on things that are discussed that are not on the slides. In addition, I want to answer all your questions. So in the email where I send the slides, I'm also going to be sharing other information, URLs, things that came out of this conversation. So please look out for that email. We're going to be spending 60 minutes together this afternoon. So really appreciate your time and I honor your time. I, I think I have a lot of information to cover. So we'll likely spend the entire 60 minutes together. Uh, it really depends on what questions we receive and how much I start kind of talking. I do have a lot to share, so and I like to talk, so please know that. Let's see. We primarily interact via the chat. So I'm going to be pausing from time to time to look at the chat to see, if there are any questions, if I should answer anything, and maybe even to just do a shout out. However, we may have time to have you unmute, or I may ask you to unmute. So hopefully you'll feel up to that. And if you want to go on video, I'd love to see your beautiful face. I do see a lot of photos, so I will be kind of just spot checking to see who's on video, and so I really appreciate that. Let's see. Interact. I am not the most formal person. I like to make this interactive and fun, so hopefully that all works out for you. Great. Hi, Patricia. Happy Friday. Thank you for being here. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, and Batista, I see you. Thank you for joining. All right. So let's get into the agenda. Nice to see your face. I know we've talked. So this is what we're doing. I'm kind of in the welcome phase of the orientation, and then I'll provide a general update on what's going on currently with our chapters and with the association. Then I'm going to do a poll, which I hope you all respond to, because I want to make sure that you leave here with the questions that you have. I want to make sure that this orientation is for you. So if you have a question that's in the poll, just click on whatever the question is. If you have multiple questions, or if there's a question that is not on the poll, just put it in the chat. If we have time, I will cover it. If it's something really unique to you, I may ask to set up some time separately so that we can have a more one-on-one conversation, because again, it's something that's more direct to you. But don't hesitate to ask questions, because it might be a question someone else has and they just didn't want to ask it, or whatever the case may be. So we'll do the poll. Then I'll do a little bit more of an introduction of myself and some key players on the membership team, and our special guest today, who is Ron Herrera, and he'll be on video soon. So he is the immediate past chair of our North or OC chapter. So I'm really glad to have him. Thank you, Ron. Then we'll go through overview of the organization as an association, then specifically talk about PIHRA member benefits, learning and networking opportunities at PIHRA, and we'll just wrap it up. So again, as I go along, please use the chat to connect with each other, share your LinkedIn, even share where you're zooming in from. I am zooming in from today. We do work remote. So ever since the pandemic, we went remote. We did have an office in Gardena, but we were paying on that during the pandemic and decided let's save some money. We're doing fine remotely, and I am right now out of my home office near downtown Los Angeles. So let me know where you're coming in from. I don't always work out of home. I do have another office in Long Beach, and we can get into that if you're interested. So I'm always interested in meeting up with you all. So here we are, several years out of the pandemic. Thank you, Carol. I'm glad that you joined. Thank you. You're coming from Bakersfield. That's a way away from me. Anyway, so couple years out of the pandemic, we're in recovery mode. During the pandemic, what was wonderful about that experience is that we went virtual. Before 2020, we had been providing some webinars here and there, but now we are providing a lot of webinars. And that's one of the key member benefits, at least in my mind. We're offering up to 3 webinars per month, and they're free for members. So while our chapters were not meeting during that time, most of them are meeting. And I'm really glad Ron's here because he could tell you about what North OC is doing. And I always bring up North OC, Ron, just so you know, because what they learned out of this experience we had a couple years ago is that every member or professional development meeting attendee has different needs. So they may not be able to meet in the morning always. So what's wonderful about what North OC is doing is that they're having our chapter meetings very traditionally are in the morning, 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Some of us can't meet during that time. So what North OC is doing is they're having one traditional meeting, a breakfast meeting. Then the next month they'll do like a lunch workshop or idea lab, which is really cool. And then the next month they'll do an evening networking event. And sometimes they couple it with some professional development or a mini training. So all of our chapters are meeting. Some of them are doing what North OC is doing. So there's plenty out there. I'll talk this month a little special. By the way, happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. This one's a little special. We'll get into that in a little bit more detail because it's the California HR Conference, May 20th through 22nd. So not all of our chapters are meeting. Actually, none of them are meeting. They're not supposed to. Because of the conference. So, but many are meeting in June, and some are still adding their events. So I have a whole slide on what's coming up in June for you. Keep visiting the calendar. We're always adding, let me just make sure I let everybody in here. Yeah, great. We keep on adding meetings, webinars to the PIHRA calendar. So that is going to be the safest place for you to check to see what's going on in the PIHRA community. So that's where you're going to get the latest meeting location information, just everything that is time sensitive. That's where you're going to find it on the calendar. I see a lot of things in the chat. So Yasmin, welcome from Ventura County. Batista, I don't know if I said this, but I love San Pedro. All right. Jen, thank you for coming in from Oxnard and Camarillo. No, you're Camarillo. Lolly's from Oxnard. Todd was in Camarillo too. Great, Carol. Thank you. And Barbie, you're coming in from Texas. Welcome, welcome. And Alexandra from San Jose. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. Okay. So now is the time for the poll. Let's see if we could launch this. Remember, I want to make sure that I cover the information that you are seeking out of the 60 minutes. So I am launching the poll. And what information are you interested in receiving during this webinar? All right, everybody, there are 19 of you. So please, please let me know. You got 2 people. All right, I'll give it another, 60 seconds or so. Okay, monthly meetings is coming up. seminars, conferences, HR certification, PIHRA and SHRM, chapters. Okay, one more person. I'll give you another 15 seconds. Other. If there's something other that you want to come out of this webinar with, put it in the chat. If there's something specific about the seminars and conferences, you have a specific question, let me know. Okay, and let me end the poll. There's one person missing. I'm not quite sure who that is. A lot of questions about monthly meetings, a lot of questions about seminars and conferences. That's fantastic. I'm going to end the poll now. And I'm going to share the results. Can you all see them? Oh, good, 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 good. I'll share for a couple of minutes. So I will focus. I do have some information about monthly meetings and a map of our chapters, and that I'll share with you. Yeah, and I'll focus these things. Again, if there's something specific or you answered other, just put it in the chat. If you just want to share it with me, you could just chat with me directly, and I'm going to stop sharing so we can get started. Okay. Okay, great. Just checking the chat. So a little bit about, more about me, and we'll get into some of your questions, which I definitely want to answer, and I'm going to focus on. I'm here in the middle. My name is Lily Arguello, and I'm the Director of Membership. I joined in 2014. I got this job through LinkedIn. So, and through my volunteer leadership. So, but I say LinkedIn because if you don't have a great LinkedIn profile, get one. That's how a lot of recruiters are finding people. And whether you're an HR practitioner, a consultant, or a service provider, that's how people are finding you and looking for you. That's what happened to me in 2014. So now LinkedIn with the recruiting power that is there now is absolutely the place to be. Have a great headshot and all that good stuff. I came to PIHRA from the Girl Scouts of Greater Los Angeles, where I was a membership manager, really focusing on the lowest income quartiles of Southern California and the Spanish speaking areas, and mostly doing membership on the partnership building side. However, I started my career in organizational development, doing strategic planning, corporate culture studies, organizational culture studies. So when I'll introduce you to Raphael, our CEO, in a moment. So when Raphael approached me about this, he knew somebody that I worked with as a volunteer with the National Association of Women MBAs, and that's how we connected. But I thought, what a great marriage of my membership experience and my HR development, organizational development experience. So I really love working with PIHRA. I love getting to know all of you. I was a PIHRA member before I ever dreamed on being on staff. So that's kind of some testimony as to the power of PIHRA. And I joined the PIHRA Long Beach chapter. So if you have any questions about Long Beach or even PIHRA Los Angeles, I'm the closest with them, but I know all the chapters and really am fortunate about my position here. Here on my right is Elisette Sapian. She is the membership coordinator. She's out on maternity leave, so she usually would be with me, helping with the chat and things of that sort. But right now, you're going to probably find me. The best way to get a hold of me is email, but you can call us. And my commitment to our members is I return emails and phone calls within 24 hours of a working week. So, and sometimes if you email me, I'll get back to you pretty quickly if I'm available and can do it. So that's my commitment to you. Don't hesitate to reach out because as we go forward, I get it. Sometimes you can't access something or you can't get in or you can't renew or you can't do this or that. I'm here to help you. So please do not hesitate in reaching out. I love to hear from you. On my left is Matt Pallets, and he is a volunteer leader. Uh, PIHRA is primarily volunteer-led, and Ron could talk to you when he's going to come up soon. He's going to talk to you a little bit about his volunteer leadership experience. But so think about that. But Matt is my liaison with the PIHRA board. So I'll talk a little bit about our structure. So we are the largest SHRM affiliate in the country, by the way, 'cause someone asked about the PIHRA and SHRM relationship. So we are affiliated with SHRM, and because we're the largest, we have 17 chapters. So we have a lot of chapters underneath us. So Matthew is my liaison on the PIHRA Association board, and each of our chapters, we have 18 of them. I'll show you a map in a moment. Each of them have a board, so there's plenty of opportunities to volunteer. Anyway, Matthew is an insurance broker. He is what we call in our language a service provider because he provides services and is a natural partner to the HR professional. He's very accessible, great person to know. I don't shy away from them. A lot of the longer term members who are service providers, they're connectors. That's their job. So their job is to understand what keeps HR up at night, and also to find out what's going on in the community. So for example, I went to a PIHRA Long Beach event a couple of years ago, and one of our service providers was like, hey, if anyone's interested in an HR director job, I heard about one in downtown Los Angeles. I'd be happy to connect you. So um, that's kind of what Matt would do, and he's a great person to get to know. So I am now going to hand it over to Ron, who's my special guest. Ron, feel free to unmute and introduce yourself to us.
Yeah, thanks, Lily. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I'm Ron Herrera, and on the screen here at the bottom, you'll see the terms Vice President, Employee Benefits, McGriff. So essentially what Lily just described with the person right before me, I'm also an employee benefits consultant and broker. And that's a really good point that you picked up on, Lily. You know, our industry and our scope really has to do with connecting. A lot of times, you know, we'll get kind of the initial sneak peek of a job that's coming through because it's maybe one of our clients or somebody that we know. So, you know, I'm sure that some of you are in the beginning or the middle or maybe in the later stages of a really exciting HR career. Benefit consultants and brokers are really people that are helpful in that way. So that's a really nice element that you added there. So just a little bit about me, and then we can keep talking about you. Although employee benefits consulting is my profession, that's not where I started. So I am actually the product of HR for many, many years. So I'm a former HR vice president and director, primarily with healthcare companies. So really, I've spent about, gosh, a little more of my career doing that than doing this. And it's just kind of funny where you wind up when you keep doors open and you're, you know, open to kind of what is exciting to you. Sorry, something's coming up on my screen from Zoom. I don't know what it says, but I'm gonna just click got it. So hopefully I didn't launch a missile anywhere. But essentially, you know, I found that human resources was really a calling I didn't know I had. And at this point in my career, I feel like, you know, every HR person can write a book about their experiences, right? I certainly could write mine, which is why I really enjoy being able to consult for, you know, HR entities and CFOs and CEOs, because I really feel like, you know, I know how the sausage is made in the back when it comes to HR. So it's an interesting vantage point, and it kind of makes me sensitive to all of the things that HR people deal with, go through, and how they support organizations. That is half of the reason why I'm a PIHRA member. So when I took this you know, this role, gosh, 7 years ago as a broker, which I love, I felt like I really wanted to keep my certifications in place. I wanted to continue being part of the HR community. And so that's why I joined the North Orange County Board. You know, after a couple of years of them inquiring and me thinking I didn't have time. Well, I justified a reason to make time, which is really to keep my skill set and my knowledge base, you know, where I wanted it. Plus, HR changes every year. Every January 1st and July 1st, there's new laws and new things you have to be aware of. And that doesn't just come to me through osmosis. I needed to ensure that I was still aware of where that information is. And so PIHRA was really my base to keep that information flowing. And what I found in addition to that, and that's the other half of why I'm on the board still, um, I really, really enjoy partnering with the other board members to deliver the value that our members really desired. And that isn't just holding fun mixers, which we do. We're pretty fun. But it's also ensuring that the topics we're delivering and the credit certifications that we're applying are what our members want. So specifically, the North OC chapter, out of 18 chapters, and I think there's 3 other entities affiliated, we're the 3rd largest. And so we're based in North Orange County. Our meetings are in Anaheim. And it's an interesting feel. And I think every chapter you engage with will have something that's unique about it that makes it special. I think with ours, for such a large chapter, it doesn't feel like it. A lot of people know each other, and that happens really quickly. Question in the chat, would North OC be closest to Irvine? There's a South OC chapter that's based in Irvine as well. I'd say if you work in Irvine or live in Irvine, you really have your option to choose which one works best for you. Although you're able to go to any event at any chapter. So, we've got folks that are based in South OC that come to ours. Some of our, chapter designated people go to their meetings. You really can go anywhere. And then the events tend to take place at different locations. So there might be some, vantage where this month it works for one, next month it works for another. But great question.
Hey, Ron, we're going to cover a lot of this stuff further on into so can we keep going or is there something else that you wanted to add here?
I'm just answering a question from the chat here. So otherwise, let's see, based on the things that you had referenced, I'll leave it with this. May 20th is the first evening of the conference. And as a special invitation to anybody on the call, if you're interested in connecting with me, I think I just added it to the chat. So I'm actually holding a rooftop social on the evening of May 20th, right next door to the conference. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, it sounds like you have a lot more content, Lily, so I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, and I want you to keep chiming in, but we're ahead of my slides, so I'm very chronological.
Sure.
Very structured here.
Never
so
works.
let's keep going. So thank you so much, Ron. I'm really glad that you're here. Now, a couple of you had some questions about the PIHRA and SHRM relationship. I think I answered them, but I could talk a little bit more about that here. This is our mission. I'm not going to read it to you, but we exist for the HR community in Southern California, and we help provide the professional development and community building that will help you in your career. So please take Ron up on that invite to the event on Monday, May 20th. Ron, is that just for conference attendees, or because some of the folks here may not be attending the conference? Hopefully you are, but
this is it's adjacent to the conference, but independent of registration. So it's a McGriff event, my firm. We've included folks from the North OC chapter, but even if you're not from that chapter, and even if you're not attending the conference, this is a special invitation just to you. So
oh yeah, you guys need to take Ron up on that.
It's a cool spot. It's a really cool spot.
Are you going to tell us where it is?
Oh, yeah, why not? So it's right next door to the conference at the Westin Anaheim at the
Nice.
Rise Luxury Rooftop Lounge. Food, drinks. I'm not trying to market all this, but I've got some room and yeah, it'll be fun. So there
Well,
you go.
thank you, Ron. That sounds like fun. So before I continue, we are the largest SHRM chapter in the United States. We were established in 1944, so next year's our 80th anniversary. And Actually, and this point since you asked about our relationship, I always like to add that we were founded before SHRM was founded. So SHRM was founded in the Midwest somewhere around 1947, 1948. So they just had their 75th anniversary. If you have any additional questions about that relationship, let me know. And I think Carol and Batista, they want to go. So I would just get either connect with Ron on LinkedIn or share your email with him. What's the best way? LinkedIn, Ron? Do you want him to connect with you there?
Yeah, that's preferable. LinkedIn is my 21st century Rolodex, so
Yeah.
that's easiest, and then we can obviously exchange other. I've already got like several connection requests, which I'll accept in just a few minutes.
All
But yeah,
right.
reach out to me that way. That's how I'll remember to ensure I add you to our guest list if you're coming. So
All
yeah.
right. All right. All right. Well, I might just show up. Um, but I have to bounce around that evening. All right. So share, I'm going to make this quick because no one really asked about our volunteer leadership, but we are volunteer led. Tara Fournier here on this slide, she is the president of the board. And she has an extensive background in HR management and organizational development, and she's a global HR executive. She'll be at the conference and very accessible. So please feel free to connect with her. Rafael Rivera on this slide is my direct supervisor. He hired me on, and he's also the chief executive officer of PIHRA. I really credit him for getting us through the pandemic, one, really creating some fantastic PIHRA staff teams. And most importantly, he has rebranded PIHRA and the conference. So pre 2013, the California HR conference was known as the PIHRA Annual Conference. A couple of years ago, we have a great legal update that we do every year. It was known as a PIHRA legal update. So now it is the California Employment Law Update. So really credit him to bringing our look to the next level and also our programming to the next level. Pre-pandemic in 2019, we had the largest HR conference on the West Coast with nearly 3,000 folks. Um, that kind of went down after the pandemic. We're regrowing that, but our conference is a very intimate conference, and we'll talk more about that as we move forward. Just really quickly to give you a sense of who other members are. Most, right around 44%, are at the HR manager generalist level, 22% are at the HR director level, and right around 9% are at the CHRO, Chief People Officer, VP level. I talked about service providers. Right now, right around 17% of our members are service providers. 40% of our members are HR certified. So someone in the chat asked about HR certification credit during the conference. It's my and I put the FAQs to the conference in the chat, and I'll share that afterwards as well in the email I sent out. I believe that if you're going in person, you can receive 13 HR certification credits for the time you spend there in person. You also get all of the sessions on demand. So you have, I think, around 2 months to look at all the sessions. And with all of the sessions, if you view them all, you'll get 28 recertification credits. So recertification is very important to us and to our community. I think, Ron, you're certified. So if anyone has questions about certification, feel free to reach out to Ron, reach out to me. I just
Well,
did this.
I
Uh-huh.
just to add a caveat.
Yeah.
The process has changed over like the 15 years when I did it, so it might be a little different now. Just want to put that out there.
Right. So I did the SHRM SCP exam in 2021. It seems like yesterday because it was such a crazy exam. Um, I did have to study. We'll get into more if you have any specific questions about HR certification. Um, I believe in it. I took the SHRM certification. I love the learning system and the books. I still have the books as reference material, even though it does change from year to year. Some of the basics are always the same. What are the top industries? So the top industries represented by our members, you'll see the breakdown here. Right around 12% are in manufacturing. These are the top four represented, but we have many industries represented. Consulting is around 9%, nonprofits around 9%, and healthcare. Uh, uh, our folks in the healthcare industry are around 7. We have a lot in education as well. We have around 3,400 members, and they represent around 2,300 companies. If you have any questions about that, I didn't see anything. Oh, Amy, does the web-only conference registration include the on-demand? Yes. So all of the registrations include on-demand. And the on-demand product usually comes out a week and a half, 2 weeks after the in-person conference. All right, so let's move forward. So many of you had questions about the chapters. This is a chapter map, and Ron was saying he is the immediate past chair of North OC. That's our, I think, third largest chapter. You guys meet out of Anaheim Hills or Anaheim, I believe, and our largest chapter is South OC. They meet out of Costa Mesa right now. So someone said they were in Irvine. That might be close for you. Anaheim Hills might be close to you. As a PIHRA member, you can go to any PIHRA chapter meeting. They all have different topics that they present on, different socials and receptions. So you can get the member price at any chapter meeting. I would just suggest that you register in advance on the PIHRA calendar. That way you get the member price. Because, for example, if you belong to North OC as a member, that's your preferred chapter, they'll have you on their roster. So you could show up on site and likely get the member price. If you go to the PIHRA Los Angeles event, so PIHRA LA, which if you've been around for a long time, you maybe remember that our chapters were called districts. So PIHRA Los Angeles was District 1, and that's because that was the first chapter that we started. They meet out of downtown LA. If you're from North OC and you go to a downtown LA and you just show up on site, they may not know that you're a member. So again, please sign up. So PIHRA South OC is our largest chapter. PIHRA Los Angeles is our second, and North OC is our third largest chapter. But we go as far east as Coachella Valley. They meet out of Palm Desert. We go as far north as the Antelope Valley. They meet out of Lancaster. And we have a group that meets out of Ventura County. I believe they meet out of Camarillo. Our West Los Angeles group meets in Santa Monica, as far west as you can get. And we also have PIHRA South Bay. So if anyone has any questions about the chapter meetings or the chapters themselves, please let us know now, especially since we have Ron here. He can answer any questions about North OC. And I do have a list of chapter meetings going on in June. But Ron, do you want to talk a little bit about the meeting you have going on in June?
Yeah, June 20th is Thursday, 8 a.m. is when the program starts. The speaker is James McDonald. He's an attorney and partner with Fisher and Phillips. And the topic is, let me see if I can remember this top of my head, working from home, what could go wrong?
Oh,
That's a very popular topic, especially now that there's kind of this ambiguity about, are people going back? Are they not going back? So if you don't know him, he's a very prolific employment law attorney in Southern California. So yeah, that's again in Anaheim. It starts at 8 a.m. June 20th.
great. And I know some of you are what I call PIHRA at large. So you live outside of the footprint. You might not be in California too often. Some of our chapters also do webinars. We do webinars. I do chats, which I'll hope to restart them in July. So all of the webinars are for free, regardless of whether they're hosted by the staff, which I am on staff, or by one of our chapters. So, for example, North OC is one of our chapters. A great example is PIHRA South Bay. They are doing a lot of webinars. So again, if you have any questions about that, oh, one last thing, we do charge for the chapter meeting. So that's a question that might be coming up. So you pay for your membership, and then you also would pay to attend the monthly meetings. And that's because they got to pay for the venue, there's professional development, there's usually a meal. So if you haven't attended a chapter event, I'll give you my version of what to expect. So usually, like Ron said, they start registration around 7:30. There's some networking going on. There's a meal, so there's a breakfast meal. Some chapters have lunch events. So PIHRA Long Beach, for example, does lunch. And then you'll get professional development. In the example that Ron gave, there's an employment law topic. We specialize in California employment law, so you'll see a lot of those topics. I think last month we had 3 different meetings around the Workplace Violence Act that's going to be kicking in July. So, and you get recertification credit. Is that kind of how chapter meetings go, more or less, Ron? Meal, networking,
Yeah, every chapter is going to have a different amount of time that they'll allocate before the program starts. But for the most part, what you described is right. Like, for ours, it's a 45-minute from doors open to when the program begins. For others, it's all kind of based on the flexibility of the venue and how much leverage, we have when we're booking it. So.
Right. Yeah, and that's a good point, Ron. All of the chapters have their own board and they have their own culture. So they like Ron, I think you just started doing more socials. I hear there's tons of fun. Um,
Yeah, I'm
I think
sorry.
some, did you
You
not
heard
hear
that
me?
you cut out. You heard that we
Oh,
just started socials. Is that what you
yeah,
said?
like the last year or so, you've been doing more socials. They're at the Foundation Room at the House
Yeah.
of Blues in Anaheim. Very cool. Some may have less socials, so it just depends. So I encourage you to go to a couple chapter meetings, go to different ones just to find your tribe because everyone's a little different. Let's see. Oh, I think Batista, you had a question. Do you have do webinars and chats encourage networking? Yeah, so all of the meetings and the webinars and chats, we do encourage networking. As much networking as you could do virtually. If you want to network, go in person. I tell everybody. I don't know, Ron, how you feel about it, but
I agree.
there's nothing like breaking bread with somebody. At the meetings, you will have a meal with people. A lot of the times, if you're new or you're a new attendee, the chapter board members will have you introduce yourself briefly in front of the entire group. So yes, we do have virtual networking, sharing your LinkedIn, things like that, but there's nothing like the in-person. So I do encourage you to go in person. Okay. We do have a couple specialty groups. I don't know how easy it is for you to see here. We have the PIHRA Foundation. They exist to bring people together and provide scholarships. They raise money for that. They haven't been as active as I would like lately, but I think they're going to start raising money. They do silent auctions sometimes. One of the great things they had done in the past is bring together delegations to go to the community colleges and high schools to talk to the students about their first job and how to prepare for that. So they've done a lot of great work, and I'm hoping that they get re-energized. I'm going to talk a lot more about the government advocacy team here. And then we also have PIHRA College Relations. We have 12 student chapters. So if you're interested in working with the aspiring HR professional, I'd love to introduce you to them. They're doing a lot of work with our 12 chapters and also to expand our PIHRA chapters and PIHRA student membership. So if anyone is interested in student membership, I don't cover that a lot here, but let me know. All right. I told you I'm going to talk a lot more about the government advocacy team. They're doing a lot of great work. So if you're interested in legislation, whether it's from the employer perspective or the employee perspective, this is the group to connect with. They do mostly chats, virtual chats, once quarter, it looks like right now, and they'll invite an elected, someone who may be on the labor committee or doing some important legislation that affects employers and employees, and it's Q&A, or they'll have one of the Cal SHRM, because we are affiliated with SHRM and the Cal SHRM group. Cal SHRM does a lot of lobbying in Sacramento, so they'll invite that group to talk about what's going on there. Any questions about that, let me know, but this is a great group to get involved with. Okay, let's get into, some of you had, not many of you had questions about benefits, but I think someone asked about wanting to get access to policies and things like that. So these are the top member benefits that members tell me of that. This is why they join PIHRA. So the HR education and training opportunities are the most accessible, affordable, and actionable that you're going to get in at least California. A lot are a lot more expensive. So going to the monthly meetings with North OC or South OC or South Bay, it's going to be a very affordable way and route for you. And they're happening all the time, which is great. We're California focused. So if you are in California or outside California with employees here in California, we'll keep you on the cutting edge of the compliance and the regulations that you need to make sure that you're covered and not facing a bunch of legal fees. We also have this great, for free, you get an HR advisory hotline. So basically it's a telephone-based HR consultant that you can call. Now, I wouldn't rely on them for like legal advice. You definitely want to go to corporate counsel for that, but they can point you in the right direction. And all it is a call away. It's free for members, which is great. We also have an award-winning compliance center, and the HR advisory hotline and this compliance center that includes it. Smart Employee Handbook Builder, it's through Mineral. So it is a separate platform, and it's via a single sign-on through our website. It's a little clunky. So if you have any trouble, just email me. I will help you get there. But it's fantastic. So there's an employee handbook builder, a job description builder, a salary comparison tool. There's even an enterprise-wide learning management system, so you could train your employees virtually on their learning management system. A lot of the core courses on there are customer service courses, some safety courses and things like that. You could always upgrade also to the mandatory sexual harassment courses for managers and employees. And I think there's a mandatory OSHA course that you could upgrade. So those mandatory courses, they will cost you a little bit more. And you know what's priceless about PIHRA, and I don't think any other HR association can do it the way we do it, is the building relationships. We have 18 chapters that meet monthly where you can meet people in person. I've talked to PIHRA members who've been around for a long time. They've met their best friends through PIHRA. I actually gotten very close to some PIHRA members. So I encourage you to get out there, and I have a list of things that you can do in June, because in May, Ron already gave you your next step to go to his event on May 20th. You're going to meet a lot of HR practitioners there, but get out there. Even if you're an HR practitioner, you never know in this uncertain financial climate, you want to keep your networks going. And we all know that there's stats out there that 75 to 80% of the people that find their job find it through their network. So Barbara, is there a separate charge for items under Mineral? The only separate charge for Mineral is those add-ons with the mandatory sexual harassment training and the mandatory general training for sexual harassment, and then the OSHA training. Let's see. There's also on the employee handbook builder, if you want the Spanish version, that's a little extra, but everything else is included with the membership. So yeah. I've already talked about this, but if you have any trouble or want to do a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting for how exactly to log in, let me know. I could provide you instructions on email as well, but there's a lot in the PIHRA workplace, which is powered by Mineral. And Barbara, I think that's where you would want to go. Any questions so far? I knew I was going to eat up this time. Tend to talk a lot. Okay, I'm going to keep going, but if you have any questions or want to unmute, love to have it. We're heading into the last 15 minutes together. Okay. Um, a lot of people don't know about this, but in last year or the end of 2022, we started this HR team membership. It's a corporate type membership. So if you have a team of more than 2 people on your HR team, this is an affordable way for everyone to have a membership. And this will help with their professional development. And I have a a team-based professional development workshop that I can worksheet, not workshop, worksheet, so that you can have conversations with your team about what are some skills they want to develop this year? Where there's some gaps in the HR function that you want to focus on this year? What are some exposures that you have that you want to cover yourselves in terms of employment law? And just kind of talk that through because you want your team to be well prepared to handle the HR strategy and the HR responsibilities that your organization demands. Want to make sure you're all successful. So that's that. Uh, no one asks, I don't think about volunteering. It's a best kept secret. If you want to build your leadership skills, which if you have a great manager, they're looking at that. You want to gain visibility in the HR community. This is the way to do it. So if you have any questions about volunteering, let me know. We do have ad hoc volunteer opportunities. So right now, the conference, we don't need any more volunteers now, but a great mini volunteer opportunity is at the California HR conference. So if you're interested in that, check that out. We usually open up the application process because we have hundreds of people applying in the March, April timeframe. Okay. Many of you had questions about the conference. Just really quickly, we have a lot of different professional development opportunities. I talked about the webinars. We have chapter meetings. I have a list that I'm going to show you in a moment of all the chapter meetings we have coming up in June. It's a shorter list because we're coming off of conference. Usually there's, gosh, I don't know, 15 to 20 meetings or webinars per month. We have the California HR conference, which I'm going to focus on in this talk, and the California Employment Law Update, which is usually in October, right after the governor signs in all the laws into effect. And we also have some specialty programs. We have the PIHRA Real HR program, the PIHRA HR Power Series, and HR Talent and Tech, which we haven't done in a while, but members receive at least $10 off of all of these events and a special rate for the conferences as well. So if you attend a lot of the chapter meetings and things of that sort, it will pay off. Certification. So I know a couple of you had questions about HR certification. Does anyone want to unmute and ask a specific question or put a specific question in the chat? Because I know it could be a daunting experience. So any specific questions? Who's interested in HR certification? Okay, well, I won't point you out, but do it. I'll tell you, I'm not a great test taker. I do see something in the chat, but I'll just tell you this. I studied for probably over 150 hours for the SHRM SCP. I read every single thing in every book. I started 3 different study groups. I took the prep class that we provide. If you go to PIHRA.org/certify24, we have one of the best HR certification instructors, in my opinion, in the West. His name is Richard Dawson. He was on one of the committees that helped SHRM put together their exam. He's failed the HRCI exams in the past. So he is very plain and simple and direct. But I'll just tell you now, the HR certification prep class is not enough. Unless, of course, you're one of those people who could study for a month and take the test and pass. I'm not one of those people, but Ron, you took the test a while back, right? How was it for you?
I'm one of those people, unfortunately. I bought a $20 book on Amazon, prepped for it, took it 2 months later and passed. But I had been in HR for a while already. So it's anyone who's taken like a licensed exam or a proctored exam, it's when I took it, there was some distance between the reality of working in HR versus what the test is like. And so maybe they've closed that gap, but I would always look at like a prep book that is somewhat relevant to what the questions are going to be is a good way to go, assuming you've got the experience and obviously, you qualify to take it. That's my take.
Yeah. Ron, I knew you'd probably be a great test taker for some reason, and he was a VP of HR as well. But I've also heard that VPs of HR don't study, they don't break a book, and they don't pass. So it's really a unique experience. I think Vanessa, what's the whole process like? That might take another call. I'd love to have a call with you. If you could email me, I'll send you my email. But to a lot of people. The process looks differently to different people, but basically you have to apply depending on there's two certification agencies. There's HRCI, so hrci.org, and I'll put some of this in the email I sent to you. And then there's a SHRM certification. There is a application process. There's an application. I think you pay both agencies just to apply to take the exam. Then you have to pay for the exam. So that's, I think you're looking at around $600 for both of them. And then you have to prepare to take the exam, which is this prep course that I'm talking about, and reading and the book, or if you're a great test taker, and if you are, if you took the SAT or the ACT and got an excellent grade, you're a great test taker. So, and then taking the test. But if you want to set up some time with me or, contact Ron via LinkedIn and ask those questions, that would be great. But I highly encourage it. Don't miss the California HR conference. I know some of you are going. You received this membership as a part of that registration. I think it's so great that you have the membership because going to a conference is fantastic, but you want to follow that up and keep going. So I encourage you to go to the PIHRA chapter meetings at least once a quarter, or as much as you can. And get out there and meet people. I have social anxiety and an anxiety period. So if you want to go to a chapter event and you don't know anybody, just email me. I'll either send an introduction to members of their board, or if you want to go to a North OC event, just contact Ron. You're at all the events, right, Ron? So
Sorry. Yeah, for now I still am. I've been the MC of them for 4 years. That's slowly gonna transition out to the new board chair. But yeah, I'm likely gonna be there.
Yeah, so don't hesitate. They're great events. The conference, similarly, I'll be there. Find me at the PIHRA booth. I'll introduce you to some volunteer leaders or to some long-term PIHRA members and buddy you up. I'm also doing early morning orientations. I don't know if they're going to be live virtually. That's actually a good question. So if you're going to come in virtually, not sure, but always reach out to me if you have any questions. We have receptions. So Ron has a reception going on that outside of the conference reception. We also have a Hawaii themed reception on Monday starting at around 6:30. We have themed lunches. So I think one lunch is Greek style. We're going to have some Greek entertainment for you. At the Hawaiian reception, we're going to have some Hawaiian entertainment. And then we have, I think, Mexican night. So we have some mariachis. We have tons of learning sessions. But if you have any specific questions that I haven't already answered, please let me know. I hope you attend. If you haven't registered yet, there's still time. I think today they're running a Mother's Day uh, um, promotion. So if you register this weekend, I believe, you get a $25 gift card. So you could do it that way. Okay. I don't see any other questions. Let's see. Go to PIHRA chapter events and socials. Here's a list of them. There's another social with PIHRA, South OC, and Riverside. And they're going to see, I think all of these socials, you'll be able to see the Disney fireworks. So that's May 20th. I think it's $20 to attend. And then these are the different events. I think PIHRA Woodland Hills, that's a webinar. So that's free on June 6th. PIHRA Pasadena is having an event. South OC is having an event on the 12th. The North OC event isn't on here. I think they just got it on the calendar today, but feel free to reach out to Ron if you have any questions about that. I see something in the chat, so let me. Oh, great. Thank you for sharing that, Amy. So talk to Amy about certification. She can provide her experience as well. So I challenge you all, go to PIHRA's event at least once a quarter. And if it's not a PIHRA event, go to some sort of event. Get active in your community. Rafael, our CEO, supports this. We just want you to be a part of a community and to continue your professional development. We see a lot of people coming to us after they've been laid off or they've been out of work for a long time, and that's when they want to start networking and brushing up on their HR skills. Don't wait. I promise you, I tend to isolate. I already told you I have a little bit of social anxiety. I force myself to go out to lunch with a previous supervisor or old professor. I go to PIHRA events as well. I go to other HR related events, like there's a OD in LA group. There's ATD events all throughout Orange County and Los Angeles County. So if PIHRA is not for you, I get it. That would make me sad, but don't let that keep you away from doing other sorts of professional development or going to other events. Networking is very, very important. And we are on a lot of different social media channels. So please follow us on LinkedIn. Here's a URL. Again, you'll get these slides. Facebook isn't as active, but we do post a lot on Facebook, Twitter, or the new X. I think there's some activity there, not a lot. We're doing a lot on Instagram, so follow us on Instagram. And we also have a member-based forum. It's not very active, but if you're interested in just asking another member a question, you could do it on the forum. But I would suggest going to our LinkedIn company page, and or we have LinkedIn groups by chapter. So you could go to your PIHRA chapter LinkedIn group as well and ask questions. Okay, so that is what I had to cover. I got through it in the 60 minutes together. But we have a couple more minutes if you have any questions, or Ron, if you want to add something that you thought we would cover and we didn't, I'd love to have you chime in now.
The only thing that I would feel like, gosh, I should have said that would be, it's important, obviously, to go to events and, enhance your network, build relationships. Not everybody's an extrovert. And so I know some people on this call, including me, hear that and I'm like, oh gosh, I gotta, and make me stand up and introduce myself to these things. We do a really nice job. When I say we, I mean across the whole footprint of PIHRA, to create an environment that isn't scary and weird feeling when it comes to having to actually be, interacting with other people. So I can tell you that, like at our events, we know who the new people are, because when they check in, we identify and we'll ask them, hey, do you want an opportunity to introduce yourself? But we say it in a way to where it's very, very casual. If some people would like leave if we're going to make them do that, and that's just not the intention. So, I think what you'll also find, and at all of these events, is if somebody interacts with you, you meet one person, if that's typically a person who's really engaged with the chapter or a board member of that chapter, we know that it's in everyone's best interest for us to just start introducing you to people. That's the hardest part, is walking up in a conversation where it looks like they're having an intimate discussion and you don't just want to say, hi, I'm Ron. So we're pretty good at saying, let me introduce you to this person. You might have a mutual interest, or you might have a need. And so I really want to take that fear of an introvert having to be extroverted at these things. That's not how this works. If it was, I sure as heck wouldn't be, a PIHRA, board member. So I just want you to know the majority of our members are typically introverts who have just developed relationships because they keep coming, and we bridge that gap. I don't want anyone at our events by themselves. So we swarm and we create this, engineered outcome of everybody feeling comfortable. That's the one thing that I want you to know. Thanks, Lily.
Thank you. That is so important. And you will build friendships here. And I agree with Ron. No one's going to force you to do anything. We just want to make sure that you have the community that you need to be successful. So thank you so much. I'll stick around for a couple more minutes, but I'm going to stop recording, and I would be happy to answer any